one among us has been spared sitting at some point in stifling South Florida traffic. Now picture you're on an island and you're trapped and you can't get in and get to work, or you can't get out and go home. Miami Beach is increasingly like that, which brings us to the idea 30 years in the making: rail service as an option across the bay. The plan has gone through several incarnations and it's now planned with dates attached as an extension of Metro Rail. Those spearheading what is called Baylink have been test driving that plan in the community meetings and finding some pretty loud opposition. But not from Matthew Gultanoff, who is founder of a group called Better Streets Miami Beach, who is fully on board with Baylink. Matthew, so good of you to be with us today.
Thank you. And Glenna, thank you so much for having me on this afternoon.
Of course. So to bring everyone up to speed, the reason we are talking about it this week is the news hook, as we like to say, was the Miami Beach City Commission took this up earlier this week and kind of punted on it, but my word. And so there are a couple of commissioners who actually had been on the record of really loving this idea, but they want to know many more details that are available to them right now, they say. Is that fair?
So just one small correction. It's Metro Mover, not Metro Rail.
Metro Mover,
That's
okay, which
be,
is a smaller version of the big Metro Rail that goes downtown and to the beach.
Correct. It's a smaller version. It's a quieter version and has less of an impact of those that live nearby to the tracks. In terms of the pushback that we're getting from some of the commissioners, it's a little bit disappointing. We hear all the time about how bad traffic is, but they're willing to do everything and try everything except for a proven strategy, which is expanding our rapid transit system that we have already that's very successful in the city of Miami, and bringing it over to Miami Beach, which, as you mentioned, has been going on for decades, or at least the planning for this.
So the actual plan is part the county, Miami-Dade County, which is why it's an extension of Metro Rail, Metro Mover, and also the Florida Department of Transportation, and it's in the works right now. But there is opposition from certain community groups and the people who live on Fisher Island, because the place where this is going to go is across the MacArthur. Everyone in South Florida can kind of picture the causeway that goes by the port of Miami. And so the people in Fisher Island, their attorney sent a letter. They want environmental studies, which there have already been. What do you make of the opposition to people who think that this will bring more traffic, which is kind of cognitive dissonance because it's supposed to alleviate traffic? What do you make of that argument?
Absolutely. Every single person that is going to be taking Metro Mover or Baylink across from Miami Beach to Miami and vice versa is potentially someone that would have been in an Uber or would have been in their own private car. So whether or not you're someone that supports riding public transportation yourself, if Baylink is built and the tens of thousands of folks that are projected to ride it do in fact ride it, it will benefit everyone. Even the folks that live on Fisher Island that have been, that have raised some concerns. And I think it's important that we don't dismiss the concerns that have been raised by those folks or the folks that live in the towers near 5th Street. But there are many, many, many people that do support this. In fact, in my goings and talking to people around Miami Beach and in the city of Miami, there's overwhelming support for Baylink. People are fed up with the traffic and they want to see something done. And of course, this is the latest iteration. The planning started in 2016 as part of the county SMART plan. So there is something that's ready to go. And if it does move forward, again, as you said, it's a county and a state project. It's not a city of Miami Beach project. It could potentially be open by the end of this decade.
I want to go back to something you said, overwhelming support. Is that anecdotal for you? Because there are a lot of people who come and go from Miami Beach, tens of thousands, and the last number I saw are 60,000 who come and go every day for work. And then there's the people who live there. So sort of detail for me what kind of support you've been finding. People who live, people who work, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I mean, it's important to also mention in 2004, there was a straw vote conducted during the presidential election, and by nearly 10-point margin, Miami Beach voters supported Baylink. And the other thing to keep in mind is that people come and go in the city, and some of the folks that may be opposing the project today won't be around. And likewise, those that are supporting may not be around as well. But it's not just for residents that live here today or visitors that are coming today, but it's also for tomorrow. With respect to the support, for instance, Better Streets Miami Beach, along with other advocates in the city of Miami Beach, we started a petition and we have over 1,500 signatures. It's been about a week that the petition's been out. But in terms of, when I'm out about on the street and talking to people, this also has come up in just, conversation naturally among people on Miami Beach. And there is a lot of support. If you step away for a moment, the echo chamber, that's Facebook, where overwhelmingly, unfortunately, a lot of people like to complain about things. But if you step outside of that City Hall echo chamber and the same group of folks that seem to drive agendas in this city, there are people that do see the benefit of having a link, a mass transit link, that is above the chaos on the ground level and gives folks an option.
The biggest opposition I've heard this week is the lack of detail. There is the government process that is the RFP, the request for proposals. That is not out yet. My understanding, I guess, from the paperwork that's filed with the county is that the Florida Department of Transportation is waiting for a couple of other technical reviews that they don't have yet in order to issue that document, which will specify all of the details. Is it fair for people, especially Miami Beach commissioners, to want to take a step back and see what the details are?
Look, at this stage, the support that's being sought from City of Miami Beach commissioners is endorsing the concept, right? This concept has been nearly 30 years in the making, or actually over 30 years in the making. No one is saying we have 100% finalized plans and we need your signature on every little detail of this project. Rather, it's, do you support the idea of bringing rail, or in this case, Metro Mover, from downtown, connecting to the vast regional network that exists today, over to Miami Beach, over the MacArthur Causeway? One important detail, and I keep hearing that there hasn't been enough outreach, or there hasn't been enough community meetings. They started in 2017 as part of the SMART plan. And I was going through some documents looking at sign-in sheets from the first meeting at the New World Center. In fact, there was only one Miami Beach commissioner that attended that meeting, and that was then Commissioner, and again Commissioner now, Kristen Rosen Gonzalez. She was the only one that attended. But even more so, this is
Matt.
Yes.
We got to go for time, but I will say, please do keep in touch because we absolutely will be watching this. As they say in my business, stay tuned. Thanks for being with us.